This is one of the jewels of my collection. Oh, this is a slide with 30 Demon Comics. You all might know me from TikTok, where I showcase my goal. And what is my goal? Is to have the world's best collection of first appearance of video game comics, characters, and series. That's what I'm going for here. So I put basically my whole collections on TikTok, but I had a lot of people ask me to do one for YouTube. So I decided, you know what, that's a good idea. I just want to catch everyone up. So basically now I'm going to showcase to you guys my attempt so far at the world's best video game comic collection. So again, the goal is always to kind of get the first appearance for the keys. So we're just gonna go into it here. First off is a beauty. Needs pretty much no introduction. This is the first one that I started off with. Resident Evil 1. The first appearance of Leon and Ada Wong. I love this book. There are like, I believe around like 5 9/8 or so. Not that many of this book at all. This is Line of Defense. Issue 1, 9/8. That's a good one. This is 1 of 1 actually. This was like an MMO game I think back in the day. Not too hard if you want to get it. I think it's probably like a $5 to $10 book. But in terms of a 9/8, it is 1 of 1. Got this one for a pretty good deal. Ah, yes. This is Bone number 1. This is the 9th print. A really rare print, honestly. I think there's like 3 of these in 9/8. And I got this for a steal too. Because the sale before I got mine was like $1,000 and I paid $250 for this. If you don't know, Telltale made Bone games based on literally just the books back in like 2005. They never finished it, which sucks, but great games. I definitely recommend it if you haven't seen it already. Ah, yes. Shadow of the Empire, first Dash Rendar. And Prince, I'm gonna destroy his name. I hope it's Prince Xizor, I think. I love this book. Apparently a lot of people were speculating on this book or something for like the Ahsoka show. That's not why I got it. I got it post Comic Book Boom, so you know, it's really cheap. I think you get it for like $100 right now. An amazing cover, super underrated book in my opinion. I think once like we're kind of past the slump where we are right now in the comic book market, you'll see these books kind of go back up. Oh, this one's an oddity. Defenders of Diatron City, number 1. First appearance of all the major characters on the cover you see here. I believe this is actually the cover for the game, which is for the Super NES. I believe this is like 1 of 1 as well. I got this from a guy over in Canada. Kind of debating if I should get it for a while, and then the stars aligned when I had the cash to do it and he was ready to sell it. So it's a nice one to add to the collection. Oh yeah, this is a weird one. Some of these, the funny thing is when you put some of these on TikTok, the ones that you think have a popular name that will do terrible, and then the ones like this that you think are oddities do fantastic. And they'll have a lot of people looking at it. This is Myst. This is issue 0, not issue 1. It's a misconception there a lot of the time. This is the first appearance of Myst, and this is also the variant for it. This is, I believe, also 1 of 1 right now as a 9/8. Great book. Hard to find. This one is hard. I think if you try to get 9/8 for it, you will struggle. It's difficult to find this in really mint shape. There's only like a handful you can even see available on eBay. This is EverQuest 1. Famous MMO game. They made a couple of books, but this is the first one that they started off with. This one's getting up there now in value. I think it's also pretty good to say, or important to note, that when I got a lot of these books, I got them for pretty much the lowest FMV possible, or like way below that. The thing I wanted to just kind of show people is that if you want to collect what you want, you can just be patient and wait. You'll find it for the most part. Some books you might have to pull the trigger, but for the most part, especially right now, the market is down, you can grab any book that you want. Cover is fantastic. It's really nice. I think it's a Jim Lee cover. It is Jim Lee. I think over time, those are the ones that might grow up in value pretty well, because anyone who likes Jim Lee will love the covers he did on some of these games. Oh yeah, oh, this is a good story for this one. Call of Duty Zombies, 9/8. Issue 1, of course. So this one was actually, I graded this one myself. So I have a local presser named Lenny from Spineworks Comics, Florida. Whenever the books either don't have a 9/8 on census or they're too expensive, I go ahead and send it over to him. And so this is one of the ones he did for me. I bought issue 1 and 2 off of eBay for $50, and they both got the 9/8. So of course we keep the issue 1, and typically when I have like another like issue 2 or something, or I get a 9/6, I usually just wind up selling those. Ah, Splinter Cell. This also was 1 of 1, believe it or not, last I checked. Not the hard book to get. Great cover. I think they're doing a Netflix show on Splinter Cell, so it might be something people might be interested in getting down the line. This is kind of the reason why I decided to go for this collection. A lot of people do ask me, why do you go for video game comics? One, I'm newer to the hobby. I've been in it for about 2 years. And now as I'm 28, I was kind of thinking about stuff that I think people would actually, as you're growing up my age, would be into. And I think video games is this thing where we pretty much all like it. So I thought that the good thing to kind of bank on would be video games, because a lot of these are pretty rare or hard to find. Virtua Fighter 1, great game. I know I'm not the only one that played this one. Fantastic game. I want to say I'm mostly done with the fighting game comics. I have a couple more that I need to finish it off. This is a great book. There is a more rare version of this that I would like to get, and then I would upgrade and take this copy out of the collection. There's one that's it will say limited edition, like there's like 10,000 print run of it. It'll say it on there. The goal as well with the collection is to get the rarest variants of the book if possible. This is a nice one. Kane and Lynch one. This is also 1 of 1, 9/8. Great cover. Love the game. Pretty much needs no more introduction than that. Oh, this one's a toughie. Yeah. Sniper Elite. But this is the variant. Oof. I think this is 1 of 2 on the census. Very hard to find. You're probably going to pay close to like 50, 60 bucks for a raw if you can find one, and then you have to hope that it's in really nice minty shape. Another Jim Lee classic. Modern Warfare 2 Ghost. I love Ghost, one of my favorite characters growing up as a kid, even though just because he looks cool, not because of his personality, just because he looks cool. And the Jim Lee cover really like kind of shows that off, how awesome he looks. There are a couple variants of this. This is one of them. There is also the 1 in 10, but I feel like the 1 in 10 just doesn't look as cool. I don't think it's as sought after as this one. I think that when it comes to this, the Jim Lee covers are the way to go. Ah, yes. This is God of War, the 2nd print. Harder to find than the 1st print. Much lower census count as well. We already know everything about this. Ton of games, show coming along the way. It's just a good pickup.
This shit ain't nothing to me, man.
The 1 in 10. Gears of War 1. Yeah, glad I went with the 1 in 10 for sure on this one. Because there's so many variants. So there's a Blockbuster, GameStop, the normal, and the 1 in 10. I think the 1 in 10 has a fantastic cover. Not that many on census as well, but you really can't go wrong with any variant. When there's a ton of them, I just pick the coolest cover and go from there. This is one I want to upgrade eventually. Life is Strange 1. It's gone down a lot. I think now is a great time to pick it up if you wanted this book. I know there was like speculation about like a show or something before, but honestly, there's speculations about everything's being auctioned these days. So it doesn't mean that it's gonna pop off. I got it for pretty cheap, around like the $100 mark. So I say anywhere from that to maybe $150 is a good price to pay for. I remember when it was popping off and some people were paying like $400 for this book. I think it'll go up eventually because I think 100 is a little too cheap for how low the print run is of the book. Primal Rage. I love this. I love this one. Fantastic game. Got this one super cheap. Like stupid cheap. This was what I paid like 50 bucks for this. Great pickup. I was super happy when I got it. There's like a decent chunk of my needs, but honestly I feel for most video game comics, most are under 100. Even the most popular or abundant that you might see are really low, because I keep trying to tell people, like, people just don't grade these things, or they're not as easy to find as you think they are. Because you can go to a ton of cons and not find these. I'm telling you. Resistance. This is a great cheap one to get into. If you want to start off your collection, if you want to go for video game comics, perfect cheap starter book to get. And I think it's super undervalued, honestly, because Resistance is really popular. At least it was when I was playing it. I remember playing all the games. No, it's a good series. I think it's something people should pick up if you find it for really cheap. I see it on eBay go for like 40, 50 bucks all the time. I think I paid like 30 for this, which is cheaper than to get it graded. For those who don't know, if you're trying to get something graded, it usually runs you like 40 bucks. And I usually get all my stuff pressed and cleaned as well, so it's another like 20 bucks on top of that. This is the newsstand variant of Double Dragon 1. Fantastic cover, amazing game. You know, a lot of those 90s books get a lot of flack, but I like this one. And also, since it's a newsstand, there is not that many on census for newsstand at all. I think like under $5. And again, not too expensive if it's something you want to grab to start off your collection. But don't worry, we have a lot of big boy books too, I promise. Another one I think people would actually care about when I put it on TikTok, but it blew up. Vortex. This is a game I believe on like Super NES or NES, and this is like a comic book to advertise out the game. Kind of cheap, but hard to find. You'll find that some of these books are cheap, but they're just literally hard to get in general. So that's the case with this one. Great cover though, it has that going for it, honestly. Krista, can you grab the other collection? Right.
All you gotta do is be pissed off at yourself when you...
I'm in the middle of recording my video, so I'm almost done. So, more books. Oh, right. Here come the big boys. Yes, this is first appearance of Pokemon. Ash, Pikachu, Brock, everybody. Big boy book, super underrated, undervalued book. But I think under 39.8, this book should be way more than it is. I think you can grab it now for in that $1,000 range, maybe $2,000. I think it's just really cheap. And a cool story for this one is I just actually traded. I did completely trade for this one. I had that Moon Knight key. It's like his first solo story in 9.6, and I traded that for Spider-Man 8, 9, and 10, I think. Raw. And then I traded that for an Amazing Spider-Man 50 for his Kingpin, and then I wound up trading that for this. And that was in a 3.0, I believe, for that first Kingpin, and I don't regret it at all. I much prefer to have this one for the collection. Again, this is super, super cheap. I will not be surprised if over the time this starts to spike and become a very expensive book, because if there's a lot of printings, and the first print, there's not that many. Soul Reaver, great game. I believe it was on PS1, and there's some on PS2, I know that. This is the first game, first appearance of Kane and all that. This was cool because I got this on, this is one of the few I actually got off Facebook Marketplace. Almost the rest you'll see are from eBay. And this one only cost me a record low of $75. This is like a $300 book right now. Great pickup though. I think it's a really good book. I love Top Cow. They make a good chunk of video game comic books. But now I think about it, a good chunk is Top Cow, and then Wildstorm. They make a lot of video game comics. Prototype. This is probably the cheapest book that I've acquired in my collection. I think it is one of one, and I only paid $26 for it. It was on eBay. You gotta hunt. You always gotta remember that. I look every day to get all the books that you see. I work very hard to get them. Fantastic game, and honestly underrated key. I believe there is a 1 or 25 that I will try to get and then upgrade from this book. Oh yeah, this is one of one too. Mass Effect. Huge book in my opinion. It's one of one, so the value is hard to say. But it's not an easy book to get at all. I think it's one of those things that you'd find it for cheap, but it's not easy to find it because most people don't really know about it. And I think the print run for this is really small. A lot of times you get the trade paperback and not the comic book variant, which you can tell with the barcode down here, or over here. One of one right now, its value's gotta be at least to me well over 500, if not 1,000, honestly. And one of my favorites, another Jim Lee cover. World of Warcraft. This one I think has about 4 or 5 9/8 last I checked. Great book. This is the San Diego Comic-Con variant. The Jim Lee cover. It's always the best one to go for. I'm telling you that now. If you can get them, go for the Jim Lee covers. They just look at it. It looks fantastic. Even if you don't play World of Warcraft, it's gonna make you want to when you look at this. Great book. Big one here. First, Master Chief, Halo, all that good stuff. Even though I thought the TV show sucked, it didn't make the book kind of hard to get. For a while, it was a $500 book. I think it still is, because surprisingly, there's not that many 9/8s around. I'd say realistically, you could probably get the book for like $300-ish. I actually got it for a record steal, like $150. Again, if you keep hunting, you can get these books really cheap. You just gotta keep hunting. Amazing cover though, and you have to remember too, this is the preview. There is also the normal graphic novel trade paperback version, but you want the preview. That would be the first appearance of him on it. One of my grails in my collection, Sly Cooper 1 in 9/8. A very hard book to get. So the history behind this one is it was in a Game Pro magazine back in the day. It's like Gamer Pro or Game Pro magazine. And then you have to get it sealed, which is hard because if you went to like a GameStop or something and they have those magazines out, typically they just sell you the book, not really sealed. So sealed came with the comic. And it's we don't know how many are out there. Very few really survive. I think they were also handed out at some events as like giveaways. Again, very hard to find this book in mint condition. There's like 5 or 6 9/8s right about now. Super hard to find. Very expensive too. Now, I will say I got this book 9/8 for $500. I do not think that's the value of this book. Considering I've seen a 9/2 the next day or like a 9/4 go for like $500, I'd say a true value of a 9/8 is probably around like $1,500 or more, I think. In the right climate when it sells. Heavy hitter here. Castlevania, another really hard to find book. Not too many floating around, just raw in general. And then trying to find a 9/8 sucks, for lack of a better word. I want to say like 15 9/8s, if not lower than that. Maybe possibly 10. Super hard to find book. And again, a massive name. Everyone knows Castlevania. This is not of the main Belmonts though. I think this is Chris Belmont's in this one. I don't think it's not Richter or the other dudes. I love this one. Ratchet and Clank one. Makes me wish it was the Jack and Daxter one, but there's not. I grew up playing all the games since the first one. I love every single Ratchet and Clank game. Great book. Really cheap right now. This is another book I'd recommend. If you see it like for around 100 to 150, great price, I'd pick it up. I think it's right around that $300 book when, like, again, the market's going back in the way that it should. Most people will pretty much only ask $350 for it. If you want it cheap, you have to get out like a bid on eBay, you know? So I'd keep your eye out. I think there's one for bid right now on eBay. This is a really cool one. Thunder Mace, first appearance of Shakan the Forever Man. This one's really cool because, so this is actually the creator's copy of the book. This is his personal copy that he sent in and got the 9/8 on it. And I bought it directly from him actually on eBay. This is one of 2. So this is the variant version. There's the normal one, and then when you see it's all red with white and black there, this is the variant. This was given out, like, it's about 1,000 print, given out to magazines and comic books to showcase, kind of advertise the story. Super rare to find it in general, it's basically a ghost. You're gonna have a very hard time finding a copy, let alone a mint copy. This is one of the jewels of my collection. It'll be very hard to beat. Another Big Daddy, Mortal Kombat 1. This is a big one. I believe this one's it's by Midway. So this was a mail-in one. You had to mail away for this, and then they would have sent you a copy. I don't know about you, but most kids in the 90s are not really mailing stuff to companies. Super hard to find this book. It has gone dramatically down, like crazy down. But I think this is a good pickup if you can find this book. I'd say it's anywhere from like that $1,000, $2,000 book, but I wouldn't be surprised if as we go down the line, it becomes a very expensive and hard to find book. Major title, a bunch of games, a bunch of movies coming out, shows, everything. Would not sleep on that one.